so much, Amy. Hello again, everyone. The talks so far have been so empowering, and there's still so much yet to come. I would like to encourage all of you to share your own appreciation for their talks in the chat. Additionally, remember to share your highlights on social media using our hashtag YouthSTEMMattersConf and tag us at YouthSTEM2030. Our next session will be a talk given by Lex Amore from the Biomimicry Institute. She will be sharing how we can find solutions to design challenges through
It is
nature.
both meaningful.
Lex Amore is the Director of Partnerships and Advocacy at the Biomimicry Institute. She combines her background in biomimicry and communications to serve as a connective tissue between humans and the natural world. Lex works with media, organizations, brands, and influencers to enhance advocacy and engagement for nature-inspired design. Lex has achieved her Master of Science degree in biomimicry from Arizona State University in 2018 and has also received extensive training from the Climate Reality Leadership Program and LEAD. And without further ado, her talk.
Aloha, everyone. I am Lex Amore, daughter of Patricia Benedetti, who was born in Cartagena, Colombia. I was born on the traditional lands of the Kickapoo people in Missouri, grew up in Georgia, where Muskogee people inhabited the land. And now I find my closest connection to the land and water of my place on Maui, home to the Kanaka Oiwi people, who are settlers from Polynesia. Here in Hawaii, the land is called Aina, and my migratory path that led me here recognizes and honors the sacred wisdom offered by the elders. And I find it most appropriate to greet you with this recognition today as we dive into a concept where we're learning to ask nature how to solve for the global and local problems that we face, while offering reciprocity to the natural world that we call home. I'm really grateful to be here with all of you today. You are the force lighting up the world in a time most needed, for this planet is yours to inherit. So, what is asking nature all about? Before diving in, let's take a moment to arrive here. You can close your eyes if you feel comfortable. Take a few deep breaths. Remember the last time that you had nowhere to be, nothing to do. You were in your favorite nature place. Being quiet here in this natural setting, everything is peaceful, everything is okay. A deep breath in. This is your sacred place. That is your birthright to come back to. And this is the place I come from when I start practicing biomimicry. It's about recognizing first and foremost that we are part of the natural world. Then we can honor this truth and we can begin to tune into how the natural world really works. Asking nature is a way to solve problems, to measure true success, and to heal. And when we're looking at solving challenges, we're inspired by Velcro, born from the observation of hooks from plants who further their seed transport by attaching to animals. It's so smart. Shark skin is inspiring antibacterial surfaces, and geckos are inspiring super adhesives. Biomimicry is about looking at our role on this planet and learning from nature on how to best fit in. It's a design formula that empowers us to adapt to this earth like how the rest of our fellow inhabitants have done. So we ask nature, how do we function in this situation? What are we trying to do here? And then we're offered countless strategies for solving the problems already faced in so many different ways, like the problem of safe sanitation for off-grid rural communities and refugee communities. Right now, 50% of the world's population lives without safe, clean toilets because they live in places with no sewage plumbing. So to expand access to safe sanitation, Change Water Labs created a new way to flush that doesn't need plumbing. The company's evaporative approach to flushing mimics how plants use evapotranspiration to pull moisture from the air, releasing it as pure molecular water through stomata on their leaves. Inspired by nature's recycling of waste into energy, Change Water Lab's biobattery also uses symbiotic microbes to collaboratively consume and convert urine into electricity. Another complex problem solved with inspiration by nature is the very real need we have in a warming climate for building strong, resilient coastlines and addressing our infrastructure needs. E-concrete turns typical gray concrete structures into regenerative ecosystems that actually increase in strength and durability over time. They drew inspiration from marine habitats and life forms and harness these natural processes for the benefit of coastal ecosystems. So, e-concrete's technology actually creates habitats for these native marine organisms, and it's currently being used around the globe to create different structures like seawalls, breakwaters, bridge foundations, and urban waterfronts. These are the kind of systems we have to work on. When we think of everything we touch as part of a functioning ecosystem, we realize that each of us has a role to play. Biomimicry is a practice that can be integrated at any time, anywhere, in any industry. And you don't have to wait for college or a professional track to get started on this problem-solving path. At the Biomimicry Institute, we offer what's called the Youth Design Challenge. It's an international project-based learning experience that asks middle and high school teams like you to design bio-inspired ideas that can provide solutions to the climate crisis. We offer a framework for formal and informal educators to introduce biomimicry as an engineering design strategy so that they can bring this purposeful STEM experience and engaged instruction that's aligned with next generation science standards. And so what you can do is I encourage you to find a coach, either a parent, guardian, or teacher, to get access to the challenge curriculum, which can be found at biomimicry.org. And you and your peers can learn biomimicry and create real nature-inspired design. Finalists are also recognized for their solutions in the spring. So let's take a look at a previous challenge participant and what they created.
So I grew up, or spent my younger years, I guess I'm still growing up, on a small farm up in Sonoma County. And I played in the creeks and caught frogs and watched birds and grew really close to nature. Later, as I grew older, I moved south to Marin County, and I learned more and more about climate change as I went through school. I even got to experience some of climate change's effects myself. For instance, last summer, while climbing in British Columbia, my team and I happened upon this valley, which according to our map that was only made 30 years ago, was supposed to have 200 feet of glacial ice. But as you can see, it's completely barren. Due to these things, I decided that I really needed to do something for climate change. Yet, because of my position as a student, I felt that there was really not very much I could do. I was incredibly frustrated because I didn't have quite enough knowledge to do anything substantial, yet I cared just as much as anybody else. I had always been interested in biomimicry. It seems like such a wonderful way to try to find sustainable solutions. So when I heard about the Biomimicry Youth Design Challenge, I realized that it would be a really great thing to do at my high school. So I found a faculty advisor and several other students who were also interested in helping to do something for climate change, but didn't know about biomimicry. And we began looking for different ways that we could help use biomimicry to limit climate change. We decided to target tidal energy, capturing electricity from the ocean's currents, and we began to research tidal kites. Now, a tidal kite is just like a kite that's in the air, except for that instead of being blown by the wind, it's blown by the current. Now, tidal kites are advantageous over a stationary turbine because, unlike a turbine which can't move through the water, it's limited by the current flow going past it. A tidal kite can move through the current as horizontally as well as with the current's direction. This means that they can generate several times more electricity and are very helpful for areas with low current velocities, such as the San Francisco Bay. Unfortunately, though, current tidal kites have several very large issues, particularly when it comes to their control and stabilization systems. They have flaps and rudders that help steer the kite through the water, yet those systems break a lot, and they mean that the kites have to be serviced frequently, and that's overall reduced their ability to be used across the world. We began to look for ways that nature flies through fluids without any active controls. First, we looked at Velella velella, which is the organism on the left there. It's related to the Portuguese man-of-war jellyfish, and due to that little fin that it has on its top, it moves like a sailboat across the ocean's surface. Unfortunately, though, although that's a really great method of moving across two fluids, it does require the boundary between the ocean's water and the wind in order to move. Next, we looked at sycamore samara, the seeds that helicopter down from trees. But we realized that their helicoptering motion, although a wonderful way to limit their flight speed, was not quite ideal to harness the full potential of the ocean's currents. That led us to Alsomatra macrocarpa, this seed, which grows on vines that climb high to the top of rainforest trees, before being released and flying up to 1 kilometer before landing on the ground. This really unique flight is due to characteristics such as swept back wings, curved wingtips, and a unique position of the center of flight in relation to the center of mass. The seed spirals as it goes down due to small asymmetries in the two wings. Seeds with broader wings fly in a straighter path, while seeds with more asymmetric wings fly in a spiraled path. And these differences in wing symmetry mean that the seeds have a very large range of dispersion. Using the seed, we designed this model, which, as you can see, has the same swept back wings and a bunch of other characteristics that are harder to tell, but are there and allow it to have a very stable flight through the water. We then printed out this model and built a small rudimentary generator using a spool and a motor that we ran backwards in order to produce a current. And we were able to generate about 16 watts of electricity doing basic tests in a pool. With this design, we were actually able to win the Biomimicry Youth Design Challenge, which is really surprising and wonderful. And part of that was $1,000 for further research. This year, our goal is to figure out the exact ratio between wing symmetry that will allow for the most efficient energy generation. In order to do this, we're currently building a large test rig that we can place in a pool to get a standardized measurement of current speed. Our hope is that although our design may not be something that can be used to generate electricity, perhaps either in the future we or other organizations might be able to use the ideas that we're generating in order to bring tidal kites across the world. Thank you.
Caleb really inspires me, and he's just one human. And there's so many young people creating amazing ideas. You can do this. Start by going outside. The natural world is your home. By observing and spending time in nature, we learn how life works, and we can also heal ourselves. We have the innate potential to create a harmonious world that is regenerative, and it supports all well-being for all of life. And as a young species, we're fortunate enough to actually have guidance to help us rise to this challenge. Our planet mates, the fantastic meshwork of plants, animals, and microbes, have done billions of years of research and development. It's about asking the right kinds of questions and learning from this wisdom. And now more than ever, all of you know and recognize the time is here to collaborate globally to design this world for the future of all species. It begins by asking nature, and it begins with us starting this work together now, finding the hope, being inspired, getting outside, and coming together to create some incredible solutions. Sometimes we can feel like we carry all the world's problems on our shoulders. But an event like this, and having all of us come together, realize that we can work together to create real change. Don't lose hope. Keep sounding the alarm. Change is happening because we're showing up to make it happen. Thanks for listening, and I hope you're able to get outside and ask nature.
Wow, that talk by Lex Amore was so inspirational and motivational, and it's really pushed me to want to go outside right now. Maybe after this conference, I'll take a walk in my backyard and just enjoy and relax the nature that's around me.